Hi everyone, I am Camille Miller of the Natural Life Business Partnership, and today is October 8th of 2018, and we are with Paul Taubman of Digital Maestro, and we are talking about blogging for business. Hello Paul, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Happy to be here, especially talking about blogging.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I decided to have you on was because we are in our 90-day to goal challenge with our membership at the Natural Life Business Partnership. And we were trying to have experts about different areas on. And one of the things you do with your business is the Ultimate Blog Challenge, which I tried to take part of. What do you run it? Twice a year, October?
4 times, actually.
3 times?
4 times. We do it once a quarter.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, 4 times a quarter, and I can see some of our members have done it, and it's really like kind of pushed them forward. So wanted to bring you on, just talk about blogging for business, its importance, how you got involved in it. So tell us a little bit about your challenge.
Sure. Okay. So first, I love the 90-day to goal challenge that you're running. It's helping me with things like the Ultimate Blog Challenge and then some of the other things. So thank you for that. But the Ultimate Blog Challenge is something, as I mentioned, we do it 4 times a year, once a quarter. So it's kind of, we start in January. Everybody, for any of the challenges, we blog 31 times in the month. So that's basically 1 time a day. And there's a private Facebook group where people will then take the blog post that they've written on their website and they put a link to it. And by doing that, it helps get the visibility and exposure that everybody wants when you write a blog post, right? What good is a blog post if nobody's going to read it?
Right.
So this is a way that it's a way to sort of advertise out to the group that here's your new blog post, and encourage people to go over to your website so that they can read it and then also comment on it. Right? So this is going to help you with the visibility. It's kind of a side result that always ends up happening is that there's new relationships. You get to meet these new different people. You're visiting their site, they're visiting yours, you're interacting on Facebook. So it's a great way just to build your network, your relationships as well. So, you know, it's all about the visibility, and it's about getting in the habit of writing, because a lot of people just think, I don't like to write, or even worse, I can't write, or whatever the case may be. It's a structure, if you will, that gets people writing every day. And there are people who sign up for the challenge knowing that the challenge for them is not to write 31 days worth of content, because it is a lot, and that's why it's a challenge. To write a blog post every single day, it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of time. So some people go in saying, I'm actually just going to blog 3 times a week. And that's fine, right? It's a free challenge. We just offer that accountability, again, the visibility and community.
So as far as blogging for your business, or just doing the act of blogging anyway, how is that helpful for one's business? Not only getting them to write, but really attaching to their audience.
So I think the biggest benefits of blogging, regardless of the challenge or not, is number one, you're getting new content onto your website. So typically what will happen with people, they'll get all excited, they'll build a new website, and they'll launch it. They'll make it live, and ta-da, right, on day 1, whatever that is, the search engines see that you have a new website out there. So let's just say, for example, there's 10 pages, 5 pages, whatever it is. The search engines come out, they send out these robots or spiders. It's automated. It's not really a person that does it, but they come out and they index your site, and they'll say, okay, great. There's this new site here. Fantastic. 5 pages. Perfect. So they kind of put it on their schedule to crawl, right? The robots or the spiders go out and they crawl it. So a few days later, they come out and they go, oh, all right. So the new site is here. It's still here. That's good. Same 5 pages. All right, well, instead of coming back in 3 days, let's come back in maybe 5 days, see what happens. They'll come back in 5 days and say, oh, no new content. So eventually what happens with the search engines is they kind of think that your website is either abandoned or it's stale or there's nothing new there. And if the site isn't growing, if it's not providing additional information, they will kind of think that you're not as important. And as far as the rankings are concerned, you'll start to drop. Right? The opposite of that is when you add new content to your website, the search engines come out, they go, ooh, here's new stuff. Great. It's alive, it's living, the website's being tended to. It's not abandoned. So they'll come back in next couple days. And the more that you do this, Google will actually come to your site either every day, or depending on how often you're writing, you're adding content, it's actually going to come back multiple times a day if you're writing that much. So the search engine results for your website will start to increase because you're adding more and new content to your website. That's number one. Number two, along with that is, as you're adding all the content, think about it. If you have a website with 5 pages versus you have a website that has 100 pages, it's a lot easier to be found when you have more content out there.
Right.
So that's another huge benefit of blogging.
So I know if my particular blog, it asks, like there's a title of an article and then there's a title for SEO. Does it actually look for different words or different titles, or some better than others?
Great question. So what you're now talking about is more along the lines of SEO, or search engine optimization.
Okay.
And there's 2 types of SEO. One is on-page SEO, the other is off-page. On-page is everything that happens on that page for the website. So for example, your titles.
Mm-hmm.
You can, when the search engines come through, there's some information behind the scenes that it looks for to find out what the page is about. Okay? And one of those could be your SEO title. Right? So the SEO title could actually override what your title is. So your title of the blog post can be 5 easy ways to eat more healthy. Right? Your SEO title could be something about, well, it could be something completely different, like the best environmental friendly automobiles, something completely out of whack. Just as an example, you would never want to do that, but that is possible. Okay, so I'm just kind of showing you how bizarre it can be. Ideally, they will be in sync and in line because consistency is good. Right? Now, with that said, some of the things for your SEO title, it may exclude words like and the and is, kind of those, unnecessary-ish words. But you can certainly make those changes. So when it comes to on-page SEO, having those keywords that you want to be found for in the title is important. In headings within the article, so if you have 8 paragraphs, if every 2 paragraphs you have another big heading, having those keywords in those is going to be helpful, as well as those words sprinkled throughout the article.
Okay, that's excellent.
Make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And then is there, well, I guess you kind of answered that. I was going to say, is there a certain amount of content or days a week you should be getting content on, like change things up 1 day a week, or if you did it once a month, it's good? I think you kind of said it earlier, the more the better, but is there a minimum too?
So there used to be a rule that I would tell people, a rule, right? Rules are made to be broken. If you can blog 7 days a week, that's perfect.
Right.
If you can't do 7, how about 6 times a week? Can't do 6, go with 5. Right. And the bottom line is, the more frequently you can, the better. With that said, you don't want it to rule your life. And for most people running a business, the business is typically smaller. And unless you have a complete team that can be writing all the time and doing your social media and doing your advertising and doing your networking and doing the bookkeeping and doing all the kind of things that have to be done in your business, there's no way one person can do that. So fit it into what works for you, what your schedule is. Okay? The key here, though, is going to be consistency. If you can't blog, realistically 5 times, don't worry about it. Maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's once every other week. But pick that day that you're going to be blogging and be consistent so visitors know when to come back to your website. So forgetting about the search engines that kind of will come and go, oh, nothing here, and then come back, oh, nothing here. after a while, if a visitor comes to your website because they're interested in what you're doing, and they go, oh, there's nothing new here, all right, I'll come back later. Either they won't because they don't remember, or when they do, if they see still nothing new, they're going to be even quicker not to come back. So if they know that you're publishing every Monday, let's say, they'll know to come to the website on Monday. And if you can kind of follow that up with your email marketing, so if you have a list of people that you can email and say, hey, just put a new blog post out there, that's also really going to help them, drive traffic to your website to read the article and work on engagement so that they know that's there and they can leave comments and all that kind of good stuff.
Right. And like when I put out a new blog post, then I post it to LinkedIn and to Facebook and different social medias, hoping to pull that in. I guess that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and when you're posting at those other locations, it's actually best to just post a snippet of it, maybe a paragraph or two, let people know what it's about, give them an image. So in your newsletter or your email that's going out, put an image, the same image that's on the blog post. Give them a little teaser, if you will, and then have a link that says to read more, click here. So that way you're not giving them everything in the email. If they're interested, they'll click it and they'll go to your website, which now drives traffic to your website. Higher traffic to your website allows the search engines to like you even more, so you get better rankings.
Excellent.
And the same thing is true with all the social media platforms.
And what about length of a blog?
Yes, the length of the blog. This can cause like religious wars. So the nondescript, perfect answer that nobody likes is the length of the blog post should be long enough to explain and discuss what you want it is to get across.
Okay.
The bottom line.
Is it better if you tell a story, kind of wrap it up?
So it depends on your audience and who's visiting your site.
Okay.
Some markets, some niches, people like those stories. Right? Others just want the facts. If you're an academic professor and you're very factual and that's what people are coming to your website for, that's what you want to give them.
Okay.
For most people, though, storytelling marketing is actually a thing. And when you tell stories, people become more engaged. You suck them in. It's kind of like journalism, right? There's many different types of newspapers, some that are very factual and to the point and has a huge readership. Then there's others that are a little bit more focused on the storytelling about the celebrities, about what some people might consider not important stuff. They also have a huge readership. So it's knowing your audience and what they want. That's what you should use. I would think that, when you tell a story, especially when it's a personal story. So let me back up. A lot of people don't like to be personal on their website. They're like, well, this is my business and this is what I do. I don't want to get personal.
Right.
And people love to do with business with people that they know. So when you tell them about things that you're doing, when you open up and you become a little bit more vulnerable, people connect to that and they relate to it. I mean, there have been times when I've written about some things on my website that people come up to me and they feel like we're friends already. And I'm like, excuse me, do we know each other? No, but I've read everything and I know what you're talking about. And that last trip you took, oh my gosh, the same thing happened to me. Like, oh, okay. Right. From a business standpoint, that's great. This person is ready to do business, to learn, to whatever the case may be. So if you're comfortable with it, open up and tell some things about you, right? Let people know what you did. Let them know how you're feeling. It's a great way to have people connect with you. Now, I'm not saying you should air your dirty laundry. I'm not saying that you should rant and complain about, oh my gosh, you would not believe what my cousin did and how I was treated. Skip the drama. Just allow them to get a glimpse of who you are and what you like.
Okay. How about video blogs? So not everyone's a writer. Video is easy. I don't know too many people that do them, but how does that work? And is the SEO the same thing? Does it work the same way? Let's put it that way.
So before we address this, I just wrote down something that you said.
Okay.
Video is easy for you.
Easier for someone who doesn't write, which is me.
So for years, I used to go around as you know, speaking at events and trainings and doing that kind of stuff. And I would always say, building a website with WordPress is easy. And it is. I can like that. And somebody came up to me afterwards and said, you know, building a website in WordPress is easy for you because you know how to do it. I go, I was like, there's the light bulb. You're absolutely right. So something is easy once you know how to do it, once you practice it. Video is easy. Video is a skill. The more you practice it, the better you get. The better your videos get. After a while, you realize, oh, I need good lighting. I need a good camera. I need a better mic. Does that mean you need all those to start? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
So if video is your thing and you want to try it, it's great. So you can and you should put videos on your website. Even if they're not yours, you can get videos off of YouTube and embed them or add them to your website. The thing with videos, and again, this goes with on-page SEO, the search engines, Google, Bing, and Yahoo, they actually track, and this is scary stuff, but they know how long somebody is sitting on your website, reading content, or watching a video. And the longer somebody is on your website, they will consider that as a good ranking indicator, meaning if somebody comes to your website and they're there for 15 minutes, going from different pages or reading and watching, they're going to assume that that person finds your stuff valuable. Okay. And if they think it's valuable, they're going to raise you in the search engine rankings, as opposed to somebody who comes to your website, looks, maybe scrolls around, and after 4 or 5 seconds, they leave. They bounce off and they go someplace else. Okay? So video is a great way of keeping people on your website because they're watching a good video.
Right.
So if you do that, again, which is something you can do, you can try, put the video on there, and you know, even if it's a short video of 3 to 5 minutes, that's kind of the perfect length for somebody who's not necessarily expecting to be watching a full-length motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in terms of content and search engines, although video can be transcribed and you can closed caption it, and that is something also that's easy to do in YouTube once you know how, once you know the right settings to click around. At this point, Google is not necessarily indexing the audio content of a video. Okay. So what that means is when you post a video on your page, you should also include some text information that's relevant to the content in the video. You know, when we talk about blogging, people go, oh, I don't have time to blog. There's an easier way to create content, and that's known as curating content. And you can easily find a video on YouTube that pertains to your market, your message, the things that you want to talk about, even if you didn't write it. And you can start a new blog post by saying something as simple as, I was searching through YouTube today. I found this great video on why you should eat organic. They talk about the 5 top reasons. The fact that we're getting inundated by pesticides each and every day is the #1 reason why we should avoid it. Watch this video and check it out and see what they have to say. Mm-hmm. And you post the video in there. And then after that, you can put another paragraph or two that says, you know, it's amazing how some of these corporations can get away with what they're doing. Farmers are being, you know, paid and subsidized to do X, Y, and Z. I can't believe this. Let me know what your thoughts are below by leaving a comment. Right? So writing all that could be a great blog post and only take 5 to 10 minutes to write, because you're just introducing it, you're summing it up, and then you're asking people to leave a comment, and you're popping the video in the middle of it. It's perfect.
Excellent. Yeah. So I have a question on comments, but first I just want to finish up this. So for the video blog, that idea, we talked a lot about video, but if you video blog, it's kind of coming up just like a blog would, I guess, mine just kind of runs consecutively. But do people look to, do they follow them? Because it's a little bit different. Now you have YouTube, you have so many other things now.
Yeah, so just a quick word on that. People consume content differently.
Okay.
Some people might love to watch videos. Some people might love to read and don't want to watch the videos. So the best answer is to give the people what they want.
Right.
Well, how do you know what you want when there's such diversity? You don't. So what do? You give them it every way.
Yeah.
Right? But one thing you can do, is to reuse this content. You can actually do your video, talk about what you want to say, right? So especially if it's your own video.
Right.
Then take that, split out the audio from that, right? Just like you can do with this video here. We're live now on the video. You can extract that, and now that audio can become a podcast.
Right.
Once you have that,
what we do.
yeah,
Right.
once you have that podcast, you can then take that audio and get it transcribed. So a good idea is, and you can use that transcription as its own blog post. Or what a lot of places people will do is they'll post the video. Underneath the video, if they don't have time or don't care to watch the video, you can read it here and then just publish the transcription right underneath it. So now you're addressing the learning styles of everybody by giving them, well, almost everybody, by giving them different ways to consume the content and to read it or watch it or learn from it.
All right. Thank you.
And that, again, is going to take time and work at. So don't feel like you have to do everything right out of the gate.
Right. I would say if you're not blogging at all in a written format, even if you get a paragraph or two out, that's something more than you had out before. So start baby steps. And the other question I had is about comments. Comments on, comments off.
So again, this is something that people go back and forth with. I leave comments on, and I keep them on. So there are ways where you can say close the comments after a month, after 2 weeks, whatever time frame you pick. I like to keep the comments open because if somebody's coming to my website, reading what I have to say, and then want to take time out and actually comment and say something back to me, more power to them. I'm going to let them, even if it's positive or negative. Right? People say, oh, somebody left a nasty comment disagreeing with what I had to say on my website, so I deleted it. I'm like, that is perfect, right? There's comments you want to delete, right? If somebody is like just nasty and argumentative and profanity or posting something that's inappropriate, yes, that can be deleted. But when somebody takes an opposite viewpoint, that's perfect for engagement to get a conversation going.
Right.
You should never be afraid of defending your position in a good, friendly kind of way. So I leave comments on for that reason.
Okay. And how about content? So I know during your blog challenge, you give cues for the day, whatever. Does it matter, depending on your business or the writer, if you should stick completely to business or let it go off in a little bit? What's the best way to get that content? I would think after a while you'd run out of ideas to talk about, right?
So there's nothing wrong with writing about the same topic more than once, especially if it's been more than 6 months ago.
Okay.
Even if you have a loyal follower who reads everything that you do, they're going to forget what they read 6 months ago. You're also going to have new people coming to the website, so it gives them a chance. New content is going to get indexed within the search engines, so that's fine. As far as content goes, you should just stay within what your website is about, right? You are part of your website, so writing about you is okay. However, if somebody came to my website, digitalmaestro.com, which is about being online, and I started blogging about farming, there might be a little bit of a disconnect there. And people go, what is this about? In the past, I've written blog posts like 25 things that you didn't know about Paul. And that was actually one of the biggest, most commented upon blog posts ever.
I don't think I'd have the guts to do that, but that's nice.
So the 25 things aren't necessarily super private or embarrassing. It's just, because I talk about business and I talk about websites and SEO and all that kind of stuff, people just never knew, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things, was how I love to go scuba diving, how I went skydiving. I grew up in New York City, just kind of background personal information that people go, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Anything else we should know about blogging that I didn't bring up? I think that's more of the general questions we would get.
Yeah. What else? The biggest thing people should consider about blogging is, I'll go back to consistency.
Okay.
Just try to come up with a schedule that works and do it consistently.
Yeah.
And it's okay to change it, but if you change it, be consistent. So if you say, I'm going to write once a week, great. Write that once a week and get it published. If you find out that that's too much, then make it once every 2 weeks, but be consistent with that. And when you have more time, or you hire somebody, or you can get somebody to do some writing, bring it back to 1 time a week. That's what I would say.
Excellent. You've given us some terrific information this morning, and I really appreciate your time. Do you want to give your information, how people can reach you?
Sure. So you can reach me at my website, Digital Maestro. That's DIGITAL, Digital Maestro, M as in Mary, AESTRO.com. You reach me there. I've got a contact form where you can send me a message directly or search for me on Facebook. Happy to chat there in the groups. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I try to answer everything, so.
Yeah. And for the members that are either watching this on replay later, you can ask Paul questions directly in our
the Facebook group.
Yeah, in our offline Facebook group that's closed. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming out today.
You're very welcome.
Being a part of our live video podcast. And I appreciate it.